These are the mysterious ruins of Puma Punku, nearly 13,000 feet in the Altiplano of Bolivia.
High in the thin, icy air of the Bolivian Andes, there's a place that feels like it shouldn't exist. Puma Punku. Just saying the name feels like opening a door to something ancient, something unsettling. At over 12,000 feet above sea level, this place has been battered by centuries of wind and earthquakes, yet what remains has defied every reasonable explanation. Massive stone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, lie scattered like abandoned puzzle pieces. They're carved with perfect right angles so precise they look like they rolled out of a modern machine shop. And yet, we are told they were shaped more than 1,500 years ago using nothing but stone hammers and bronze chisels. It sounds impossible because, frankly, it is. Generations of archaeologists have wandered among these ruins, sketching, measuring, theorizing. Some say it was the Tiwanaku civilization, an advanced culture that thrived in this high-altitude plateau. But no one can quite explain how they managed feats that would challenge modern engineers today. Moving stones heavier than a blue whale up a treeless mountain? Carving volcanic rock harder than steel into interlocking Lego-like pieces without a single misstep? It doesn't add up. The story we've been told feels like a fraying rope. Every time you pull at it, another thread unravels. So, a group of researchers decided to throw out everything they thought they knew and start from scratch. They weren't going to argue over whether bronze chisels could carve andesite or if the blocks were poured like concrete. They wanted to hear the stones themselves. For 5 years, teams from Bolivia, Germany, Japan, and the United States scanned every block, every groove, every shattered fragment, collecting over 12 terabytes of data laser scans, chemical tests, satellite imagery, even astronomical alignments. It was a digital map of a mystery, so detailed you could see the faintest tool marks left by whoever built this place. And then they handed it over to an artificial intelligence. This wasn't your standard reconstruction. They didn't tell the AI what to look for. They didn't feed it theories or bias. They gave it raw numbers measurements, positions, chemical signatures, and told it, rebuild this site as logically as possible. No guesses. No assumptions. Just follow the evidence. What came back was something no one was ready for. Piece by piece, like solving the hardest jigsaw puzzle in history, the AI reassembled Puma Punku in digital space. For centuries, we've stared at toppled walls and scattered stones, imagining a temple or a simple ceremonial courtyard. But the reconstruction revealed something far more complex, a multi-level architectural masterpiece. A raised platform. Corridors leading to interior chambers. Gateways arranged with a mathematical precision that would make modern architects sweat. There were channels carved so carefully that water would have flowed through them at exact speeds, filling shallow pools placed in just the right spots to reflect the night sky. This wasn't just architecture, it was a machine for observing the heavens. But the real shock wasn't what Puma Punku looked like. It was how it was built. The ARI's analysis revealed a system, a level of engineering planning that shouldn't have been possible at the time. The famous H-shaped blocks, once thought to be unique, weren't unique at all. 45 of them were identical, carved from a single master template. In fact, the whole site was modular, designed like a modern factory would manufacture parts for a car. Each block wasn't just shaped, it was standardized, built to slot together with its neighbors perfectly. The builders weren't just stacking rocks. They were mass-producing components in a system so advanced it borders on industrial engineering. Now imagine that. Over 1,500 years ago, at 12,000 feet in the Andes, a civilization that supposedly had no wheels, no steel tools, no written language, was working at a level of precision that rivals machine-age technology. That's why this reconstruction has left researchers shaken. It doesn't just raise questions about Puma Punku, it threatens to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the people who built it. Because if they could do this, what else were they capable of? The debate over Puma Punku has always been a tug-of-war between skeptics and dreamers. Traditionalists insist that with enough time, labor, and ingenuity, even impossible tasks can be done. Fringe theorists argue for lost civilizations, forgotten technologies, even extraterrestrial help. But this AI project has shifted the conversation entirely. It's not about aliens or fantasy. It's about evidence, and the evidence says this was no primitive society hammering stones in the dirt. There was knowledge here. Real, measurable, repeatable knowledge. A blueprint for construction that required an understanding of geometry, load distribution, modularity, and metallurgy. The bronze clamps poured into ice-shaped channels to bind these stones weren't just clever, they were part of an integrated engineering plan. The water channels weren't decorative, they were calibrated. The layout wasn't random, it was designed with cosmic precision. And that leads us to the question no one wants to answer. Where did that knowledge come from? History books tell us that civilizations advance slowly, step by step, generation after generation. But Puma Punku feels like a jump. A leap forward so dramatic it leaves a shadow over everything else from that time. Maybe it means we are missing entire chapters of human history. Maybe it means technology isn't as linear as we think. Or maybe there are mysteries buried in these mountains we are still not ready to face. What's certain is this: Puma Punku is no longer just a ruin. It's a message, carved in stone, waiting 1,500 years for someone or something to finally read it. And thanks to artificial intelligence, that message is starting to come through. Not all of it, not yet, but enough to make even the most skeptical archaeologist pause and wonder. And maybe that's the real power of this discovery. Not that it solves the mystery, but that it reminds us how much mystery is left in the world. In a time where we think we can explain everything, here's a place that refuses to be explained. A silent city in the clouds, built with impossible skill, whispering secrets about a civilization we barely understand. So, what do you think? Was Puma Punku simply the pinnacle of human ingenuity in its time? Or is it evidence of something deeper, something we've forgotten or chosen not to see? The deeper the AI went, the stranger Puma Punku became. It wasn't just that these stones were precise, it was the degree of that precision. The grooves, recesses, and angles weren't simply accurate. They were mathematically identical to within thousandths of an inch. No trial and error, no guesswork, this was standardization. Like parts rolling off a modern assembly line. As the program mapped every block, a startling pattern emerged. Puma Punku wasn't a chaotic pile of masonry. It was a kit. A system. The AI identified 19 distinct block types, repeating across the entire site, like puzzle pieces designed to form terraces, gateways, and channels. A prefabricated construction set, carved from stone centuries before anyone had even conceived of prefabrication. And that was just the beginning. When the AI ran a mathematical analysis, another layer revealed itself: geometry. Ratios appeared again and again, encoded in doorway heights, slab widths, and distances between gateways. The golden ratio 1 to 1.618 popped up so often it couldn't be coincidence. The builders weren't just stacking rocks, they were writing harmony into stone. They wanted this place to mean something. Then came the stars. Astronomical alignments confirmed what earlier researchers had suspected. Puma Punku was tied to the sun's path, solstices, and equinoxes. But the AI went further, uncovering subtle alignments to constellations, polar star tracks, and lunar standstills. Even more haunting, these alignments matched the sky as it appeared in the 6th century AD. Puma Punku wasn't just a ceremonial platform. It was an astronomical machine, a calendar so vast and precise that it didn't measure hours or days, but centuries. And that's when the story turned darker. By simulating celestial movements encoded in its layout, the AI uncovered something chilling: a pattern. These stones weren't simply observing the heavens. They were predicting it. Cycles of meteor showers, comet returns, and debris streams' potential threats to Earth were encoded in this site. Puma Punku may have been a warning system, a stone-etched message to the future about catastrophic events written in the stars. Then the software analyzed the destruction. We've been told Puma Punku collapsed over time: earthquakes, looters, weathering. But the data didn't agree. The scatter of those massive blocks didn't match earthquake debris. It looked violent, instantaneous. The AI calculated the energy needed to throw a 100-ton block the distances seen at the site and found it eerily consistent with a cataclysm, perhaps a massive flood or a cosmic airburst. In a twist of irony, the very kind of celestial event Puma Punku may have been built to predict might also have been the one that destroyed it. This revelation didn't require aliens or science fiction. It was something scarier: proof of a lost intelligence. A culture over 1,000 years ago, or possibly much older, that reached a level of precision and understanding rivaling our own. Modular engineering, astronomical forecasting, advanced construction methods. And then, nothing. They vanish. No slow decline. No surviving manuals. Just ruins, scattered like shattered glass, leaving only the faintest whisper that they'd ever been here at all. And when you zoom out, the story grows stranger still. Puma Punku isn't alone. It's part of a global pattern of impossible stones. In Peru, Machu Picchu perches in the clouds, a 15th century Incan masterpiece.